Aaron Griffith, the National Pro Commercial Sales Manager with Cub Cadet. He's going to walk through the Pro Z lineup. Really highlighting the S steering wheel model gives you the productivity and hillside stability you don't find on other commercial mowers.
Hello, my name is Aaron Griffith. I'm the National Sales Manager for the Pro Series of product at Cub Cadet. And today we're going to talk about our 5, 7, and 900 lineup, what the unique features are, and the benefits for each model independently. So the first thing that is standard features across the board are the table stakes we talk about, which is the durability side of it. So the frame and the deck are the same across the board. So this frame is a 3/8 by 5 inch tall rail frame from front to back, fully welded, not bolted together. This rail style frame gives us more material than a standard rectangular tubing frame. Then from the front, we run a 2 by 3/4 inch walled pivoting front axle. We'll talk about the advantages of the pivoting front axle in a little bit. Then we also have 3 inch by 5 inch tall front caster hubs, as well as 1/2 inch front forks. A lot of material there. For that municipality that wants to move a picnic table around with the front end of a lawnmower, you got a lot of material there to be able to do that. When you do go to the S series model, you do get a cast iron front end to house all of the steering components for the steering wheel model. You also have 3/8 inch thick deck lift linkages, as well as back on the back bumper plate, a lot of material there to have the machine really robust. And then you've heard me talk about it before. You buy a lawnmower to cut grass. How is the deck construction on this machine? Very similar to the stand-on, with two real differences, which is this has a 7-gauge shell with a 7-gauge ring on the top and bottom. So it's a little bit thicker than the stand-on that uses the 10-gauge shell. The 72-inch model actually has a full boomerang underneath the bottom side of the deck to even give it more rigidity. Then we also run a 5/16 side skirt on the trim and discharge side, along with the 3/4 inch wear pad, and then the 1/4 inch leading rolled edge. And that rounds out the deck construction and the frame construction of this unit. Now we're going to talk about each individual model. So starting with the 500 series, this model is available in a 54 and 60 inch deck in both lap bar and steering wheel drive systems. The unit has 13 650 by 6 front tires, 24 12 by 12s on the back. It runs a 12cc Parker transmission and a 27 horse FX 850 for the engine. Then when you go to the 700, you really get a lot of step-up features between the 5 and 700 series. So kind of starting from the front to the back, we'll talk through those differences. The first part is these ISO mounts. Earlier I mentioned the pivoting front axle on this unit, and really what the pivoting front axle does is it gives you 3 really unique benefits versus a fixed front axle. One, you get a little better ride. You also get a little better hillside stability because it allows that front axle to pivot. And then you're going to get a little more even cut as well, because it's going to bounce around on the terrain, keep that deck nice and hugged to the ground and to the terrain. These ISO mounts do 2 things though. One, they do smooth out the pivoting front axle and make it a little bit smoother when you operate, but also it allows the axle to not travel as far. If you need to freewheel the machine off of a curb, going around a road sign or a tree that's planted right by the curb, and you need to get in a really weird spot, it allows you to take one of the wheels off the side of the curb so it doesn't drop all the way to the street. The deck hits the curb, sparks fly. It's a very bad situation. Also, when you go to the seat, the 500 series does have a dial suspension seat that is just like the 700 series, but we get a much nicer, heavier padded armrest. So it's going to be a little bit more comfortable, as well as a lumbar support built into the seat. Then to continue on the comfort side, we have ISO mounts underneath the seat as well. So the suspension is going to help your ride up and down, and then those ISO mounts are going to help the side-to-side movement of that seat to keep the operator more comfortable. Once we talk about the deck cut quality, we have adjustable baffles, removable baffles inside the deck. We have 3 inches of total overlap to give a nice even cut. Then we take it a step further with this model, and the striping roller is standard on this unit. One last thing that is unique to this unit, when you go to the 700 as well as the 900 series is our fuel tank goes into the console. So you have a digital running sending unit to read the fuel levels versus having a float gauge built into the tank. Okay, that covers all of the features and benefits from an ergonomic and upgrade standpoint. There's also some upgrades in the main componentry of the 700 over the 500. You go from a 27 horse engine to a 31 horse. You go from a 12cc transmission to a 14cc transmission. And then the ground speed goes from 10 mile an hour to 12 mile an hour. You also, with the lap bar, get flat free front tires that are standard. And then on the S model, it goes from a 13 650 by 6 front tire to a 16 650 by 8 to give you a better rubber set on those units. Now we're on to the 900 series. This is the top line in the 5, 7, and 9 lineup. And you get a few added benefits to this model, even over the 700 that we already talked about those features. All the features that are standard on a 700 carry on over to the 900. Now what you do get is you get an air ride seat. So with the flip of a switch on this seat, you can easily adjust the suspension on it. You also go to a different tire set. On the S models, it's the same tire as the 700 has, 16 650 by 8. But if you go to the lap bar model on the 900 series, you'll get a 15 6 by 6, taller than the 7 and 500, and still runs a flat 3 just like the 700 model does. And then your rear tires go from a 24-inch tall tire to a 26-inch tall tire, still 12 inches wide. Then your standard componentry does go up between the 7 and 900 series. You do have a 35 horse FX Kawasaki versus a 31. You have a 16cc transmission, as well as your ground speed goes up to 14 miles an hour. To end this, I want to point out a feature that sometimes I even forget to bring up, and it's the little things that really matter to a landscaper in a municipality that you've really paid attention as we go through the professional test drive process, which we've done on this just like we've done on every other model, where we had 100 of these things out running with landscapers for a season, getting that feedback to continue that listen, act, build process. And it is the hydro release lever. So all other models of machines, you have to get underneath the frame, release the transmission valve with either a screwdriver or a 5/8 wrench, depending on the transmission set. With ours, it's built into the park brake. So simply by releasing the parking brake, then pulling this lever up on the park brake, you've now put this unit into neutral mode. So it will move at this point. And the way I bring that up is, how many times have you ever gotten stuck? Whether it's in a low-lying area, going through a ditch, anything like that. You don't want to get underneath the machine and release the valves. This is much easier to do. One other secondary benefit to this feature is that when you are starting the engine, especially in those spring and fall cleanup days, it may be cold outside, it is also disengaging that transmission every time you set the parking brake, which you have to do to start the unit. So it does make it a little bit easier to start. Hello, my name is Aaron Griffith. I'm the National Sales Manager for the Pro Series of product at Cub Cadet. And today we want to talk about our dual-wheeled units, the 972 SD and the 972 SDL. This unit has a lot of similarities between the 972S to the 972 SD and SDL. However, there is a few differences. But the similarities are in the engine, the deck construction, the frame construction, the air ride seat. Those are all the same, but the differences are what make this machine unique. First off, we have wheel weights in the front wheels. You can see there is about 50 pounds of weight in each one of the front wheels, giving you 100 pounds of weight. Then you move on to the back tires, which this machine is known for, the dually, a lot of people call it. And then you see that this has a 25 by 9.5 inch wide tire, 2 on each side, giving you 19 inches of total rubber on the ground to give you as much traction as possible. When you combine the dual wheel tire in the back along with the wheel weights in the front, we give this machine a 25-degree slope rating. To give you an idea, our lap bar models, along with every other model that's out there, only has a 15-degree slope rating. Our S-Series single-wheeled unit has a 20-degree slope rating. There's one other key difference in the dually that is not seen, and that's in the transmission. It does still have the same 16cc transmission that the 900 series has. However, we did upgrade the bearing on the axle shaft to a much heavier, more robust setting, so it can take the load of the extra tires, the extra weight, the extra slope capabilities. The other standard options on the SD and SDL are in the operator platform. First off, we do have electric lift on the deck, which is right here. And the reason we go ahead and put that on at standard is a lot of municipalities are buying this unit and they're asking for that, they're speccing for it. And as you guys know, it's much easier for us to put this on the assembly line as it is for you to do in your store. So we go ahead and put it on there standard so you can see that that deck raises and lowers with the flip of a switch, very easy to do. Now, while we're sitting on this unit, there's also some unique features that are different between the SD and the SDL. First off, the S and L in the nomenclature stand for self-leveling. So the self-leveling works by this latch that is underneath where your operator platform is. Right now it's locked in, it's not gonna move, but as soon as I switch this lever over, now the seat is gonna swivel with me. This seat will swivel up to 15 degrees. So if you're on a 15-degree slope, it's like you're sitting on a flat level surface. That is really gonna help those customers that are mowing reservoirs and dams all day long, and they're not having to pinch their back. They're able to let that seat swivel so they're nice and comfortable all day. There is also a light package that's standard on the SDL that is not standard on the SD. As you'll notice, you have an amber beacon light on the back of the machine that you can easily flip on with a switch that's right by the power deck lift, as well as a full light kit that shines out on the front, and then there is lights also in the frame to shine out onto the deck. And the reason that we have all of those lights in there is this machine is being used along roadsides. So adding this emergency beacon as well as those lights is really going to help the visibility for the operator on the unit. Hello, my name is Aaron Griffith. I'm the National Sales Manager for the Pro Series of product at Cub Cadet. And today I want to talk about our bagging system, the Pro PCS 1900. And the 19 and the 1900 refers to the width of this impeller housing. This is the largest impeller housing on the market. It's 19 inches wide, so easy to remember that with the model nomenclature. With that large housing, we wanted to make sure that it didn't stick out any further than it needed to be. So we do have this impeller housing over the deck as much as possible. With that, inside this impeller housing, we are using a 15-inch wide impeller. It's the largest impeller in the industry as well. It's going to really help get it into the bags to give very, very good performance. So a few things that we've done on this impeller housing to make it easier to maintain, easier to get on and off, make it as robust as possible is, you'll see we have cover on around all of the belts that are easy to remove with these thumb screws. You can take those off, so you will be able to take this impeller off with no tools. Then we also added a really nice reinforcement piece around the outside of the impeller housing. That's going to protect it as it may hit a trailer, but that's going to really help protect that impeller. And on the bottom side of that impeller, we also have some reinforcement plates as well to protect the bottom side of the impeller. You know, it's really important to keep the CFMs from this impeller going up as far as possible to get this into the bagging system. So what we found is, you'll notice that this tube goes from a round design into a rectangular design, and that is there to keep the CFMs of the air moving the grass up through the tube to prevent plugging. So as we move to the back of this bagger, there's a lot of really unique features that you're really going to be able to talk about to sell this bagger over a competitive unit. First off is we have a mount that you'll be able to add onto the frame, as you can see here, that's going to hold the discharge chute. So we're not going to have to worry with parts that you take off of the unit getting lost. We also have a mount off the back of the bagger frame to mount your spindle cover. So when the bagger is on, you can take the spindle cover mounted here, never gonna have to worry about getting lost. Then one thing I really like to point out on this bagger, very good piece that we've added into it, is we've actually added a rubber seal where the tube mounts into the bagger assembly. And what that's gonna do is really prevent the blowout whenever you're mowing, especially in drier conditions. That rubber seal is gonna really seal that off and make the operator have less debris on them. When you move around to the back of the bagger assembly, you'll notice that the frame for this is a metal frame that wraps around the entire bagger, as well as a fabric top. It's gonna help with the durability of the unit, not have to worry with any plastic pieces backing into a tree. Well-built, very durable piece. Then to raise the back frame assembly, there is a magnetic pin on the trim side of the machine that you simply remove, and you're able to raise this back plate up with a nice shock assist. And you'll notice here you also have mesh top on the top, the screening, as well as the screening built into the bags to help that blowout not going on the operator. And then you'll see this nice baffled piece here. And what that's there to do is to continue to move the debris into the right bag so you have the most packing ability as possible with this collection system. Then when you remove the bag, you'll notice that you have a plastic bottom to raise the durability of the bag so they don't wear out as fast. And then a nice handle that's built into this to make it easier for dumping into a flatbed or the back of a truck or wherever you're dumping the debris at. Okay, now we want to show how easy this impeller comes off of this unit. So I'm sitting on the unit because the first thing is just lower the deck all the way down. So, as you know, push the pedal in, pull the deck pin, and let it drop all the way to the ground. It's going to give you much better access to be able to get the right covers on and off of the unit. So then from there, you're going to want to release the tube. You've got a strap on top, strap on bottom, pull this up. Now you've got that freed. We mentioned the covers that protect the belts. We're going to remove those thumb screws from the unit. Stick them there so we don't lose them. Covers are all free. You're ready to take the system off. And then you have the spindle cover that you need to remove as well. Same way you remove all Pro Zs, simply loosen your thumb screws, and this system is ready to take off. Very important that the deck is lowered to give you access to get this off. You're going to come to this side of the unit. You have a release lever to release tension off of the belt. Simply roll that, slide the belt off. You're going to remove this thumb screw that holds the impeller housing on. So now, one really nice feature we added into this impeller is these nice handles we talked about earlier. So now we can pivot it and continue to move it. Now it's out of the way and it's ready to come off of the unit. Set it to the side. We can leave the back frame on if we want to just side discharge. We have our discharge chute right here. Easy to add back on along with the spindle covers. So we're all safe and proper and ready to go mow.